Hey, Hal here again. This is July the 21st, 2026, and the World Cup is over, but we continue with our FIFA World Cup 2026 series, Football Strategy Leadership Lessons Learned. And today we're going to focus on the final match between Spain and Argentina, and the fallout from what many have described as Argentina's disgraceful behavior during the game and after the game. In fact, throughout the tournament. The uproar over the World Cup 2026 final game between Spain and Argentina has a general negative reaction from people from around the world. That reaction is completely understandable. That final hit a nerve for a lot of people. And that's not because of the scoreline, but because of how Argentina behaved under pressure during the game and after the game. The core takeaway from this game, we're not imagining this, Argentina's age has always been part of their identity, both as a nation and a football team. But in this match, it crossed into something that felt unsportsmanship. And that's why it's provoking such a strong global response. Let me stress one thing. This final game did not create Argentina's character, but it exposed it. Argentina's football identity has always had two sides. La garra, which means the grit, the fighting spirit, the intensity, the refusal to back down. The other side is la picardia, which is the gamesmanship, the bending of the rules, the street smart edge. In most tournaments, this has come off as passion, as intensity. But in this final, it was exposed as hostility. But why did this match feel negative? The aggression wasn't just competitive, it was performative. It was directed at opponents, at the officials, and even at the rhythm of the game. The constant surrounding of the referees by Argentina's players, the late challenges, and the confrontational body language made the match feel chaotic rather than competitive. When a team wins while behaving like that, it creates a sense of moral dissonance for viewers. And this is why many fans, even neutral fans, walked away from this feeling totally uncomfortable. Now, let's talk about Messi's legacy. Why this moment stings his legacy. Messi has always been framed as the antidote to Maradona's chaos. The quiet genius, the humble leader, the pure footballer. But football legacies are not just about scoring goals. They're about the emotional tone a player sets for their team, especially when he is considered the leader. What happened in this final? Let's focus on that. Messi did not cause the behavior, but he didn't calm it down either. His presence legitimized the team's conduct, rightly or wrongly. And for some fans, this final felt like a crack in that pure hero narrative about Messi. Does it erase his greatness? No. Does it complicate his legacy for many people? Yes. Let's revisit the Maradona effect, a cultural through line. We have to connect all the way back to 1986 with the hand of God. It didn't just win a match. It cemented a cultural myth. What was the myth? If you are clever enough to to get away with something, then it's part of the game. That street smart mindset, mentality, that mythology shaped generations of Argentine players. It created a football culture where bending the rules is considered as craft, emotional volatility is considered passion, and confrontation is character. Most of the time, this has produced what many thought was thrilling football, but in this World Cup final, it produced something ugly, and we all were affected by it. But what's the real issue here? To me, the real issue is accountability. Argentina's reaction when things don't go their way, the snapping, the surrounding of the referees, the hostility, that's what bothered me and bothered most people. It's not the fouls alone. It's not the intensity. It's the inability to accept accountability. That's the part that feels they've gone too far. And then, so I went back and started researching Argentina, the history. And I want to share with you what I discovered. Argentina's psychological profile as a footballing nation. Argentina's football psychology is built on suffering, resilience, emotional intensity, and a belief that adversity is fuel rather than danger. Remember how Gianni Infantino got himself in trouble when he publicly declared that I suffered with you, addressing Argentina after a difficult game. But what does the evidence show us in this 2026 FIFA World Cup tournament? Reporting during the 2026 World Cup repeatedly emphasized Argentina's identity of suffering and comeback mentality. Coach Scaloni said it. This team plays its best when it's in trouble. Many fans and psychologists link this to Argentina's national hardships and a cultural refusal to consider any battle as lost. And Pablo Negro, the president of the Argentine Sport Psychology Association, described the team's mindset as seeing pressure as an opportunity for self-improvement. This creates a national football psychology defined by, number one, emotional volatility, not as chaos, but as fuel. Number two, collective identity. The team behaves as a single emotional organism. Number three, resilience through suffering. The adversity is embraced, not feared. And number four, mythology of comebacks, late goals, reinforcing national self-image. This is why Argentina often appears chaotic, dramatic, and emotionally explosive in high-stakes matches. Their psychology expects the match to become a battle of willpower. But how does FIFA refereeing enable this behavior? FIFA's refereeing structure doesn't intentionally favor Argentina, but its inconsistencies, the VAR scope, and referee selection patterns create conditions where Argentina's emotional confrontational style can thrive. What's the evidence from 2026? Several controversies emerged. Number one, Messi had heated exchanges with referee Joao Pinheiro, complaining about disrespect. Egypt's coach accused FIFA of wanting Messi to stay in the tournament after a VAR decision overturned an Egyptian goal for a foul 20 seconds earlier in the build-up. Number 3, the Algerian Federation filed an official complaint about Messi after a studs-up challenge. Number 4, Swiss and Egyptian coaches criticized refereeing after late-game Argentina comebacks. Number 5, public sentiment exploded after the Argentina-Egypt game with accusations of selective VAR and referee loss of control. But the structural factors that enable Argentina's style, the FIFA structural factors that enable Argentina's style. Number 1, the referee teams work together for years, so FIFA keeps them intact as a team for chemistry. But this reduces diversity of officiating style and can create predictable patterns. Number 2, neutrality rules prevent referees from certain nations shrinking the pool and sometimes leading to repeated matchups with the same referees. Number 3, VAR's expanding scope. Reviewing fouls far back in build-up phases creates more subjective intervention moment, fertile ground for controversies. And number 4, emotional teams exploit inconsistency. That's why Argentina's confrontational style can pressure referees in real time, especially when officiating is already under scrutiny. Some important nuance. There is no evidence of intentional favoritism, at least none has been provided. But the perception of favoritism grows when, number 1, Argentina wins multiple matches via late goals, and number 2, opponents' coaches publicly complain, and number 3, Messi is involved in repeated controversies with the referees. This perception reinforces Argentina's psychological age, and this perception reinforces their behavior. Could Messi have changed the team's tone? Messi influences Argentina's emotional climate, but he cannot fully control it. The national football identity is stronger than any one player, even Messi. But evidence shows that Messi's interactions with referees in 2026 does not always bring a calming effect. He has been at the center of multiple controversies during this tournament, and critics accuse him of benefiting from officiating, even though Messi responded defensively. He said nothing was handed to us. That's his defense. Why is it that Messi cannot fully change the tone? Argentina's emotional identity predates Messi. The national psychology of suffering, defiance, and collective intensity is decades old. Messi leads through performance, not authoritarian control. He is not a disciplinarian. He leads by example, not by confrontation with teammates. Scaloni's system encourages emotional unity, so the team behaves as a collective emotional organism. Messi is a part of that organism. He's not above it. High-stakes matches amplify national identity. Even Messi cannot suppress the cultural instinct towards emotional escalation. But you will say he does influence the team. Messi's presence stabilizes Argentina in moments of panic, but he cannot erase la garra or la picardia. He can only channel them. Why do some nations tolerate gamesmanship and others reject it? Gamesmanship is culturally coded. Some nations see it as craft, others see it as corruption or fairness. Cultural tolerance varies because of historical football identity. Argentina's identity, suffering, street smart survival, emotional warfare, that's what their identity is. For England's identity is order, discipline, respect for officiating hierarchy. For Germany's identity, structure, efficiency, tactical clarity. Brazilian identity is flair, improvisation, and joy. These identities shape what each nation considers as acceptable. Now, let's talk about referring culture. Leagues also differ in how they punish dissent or tactical fouling or time wasting or simulation. So players internalize those norms coming from their own cultural background. Number 3, national values around fairness. Some cultures emphasize honor. This is the case of Japan and England. Some cultures emphasize cleverness, like Argentina and Italy. Some cultures emphasize pragmatism, Uruguay and Portugal. So gamesmanship aligns differently with each culture. Now, media framing plays a role. In Argentina, bending the rules is often framed by the media as viveza criolla, intelligence, street wisdom, but in England, it's framed as cheating, unsporting behavior, and moral failure. The result, therefore, in Argentina's behavior in the final fell too far, for too many viewers because it clashed with their own cultural expectation of what represents fairness, not because Argentina acted outside its own identity.